Let's be real for a second. Walk into your kitchen, open that cabinet where you keep your vitamins. I'm willing to bet my own garden that you have a bottle of turmeric in there. Maybe it's labeled curcumin complex. Maybe it's golden milk powder. You bought it because you were told it's the ultimate anti-inflammatory, the king of roots, the miracle from the East. You paid $40, maybe $50 for that bottle, and when it runs out, you'll go back to the store and pay another $50. Now, imagine if I told you that the only reason you're stuck in that cycle, paying a health tax to supplement companies every month, is because of a marketing campaign that successfully erased your own history. You know about turmeric because it's a global commodity. It's safe for business. It's tropical. It doesn't belong here, which means you can't easily produce it here. But you don't know about golden seal, or if you do, you think it's just some rare, expensive, endangered thing you shouldn't touch because golden seal represents a threat to that business model. Let's talk about the climate lie. This is the most absurd part of the whole story. Look at where we live. If you are anywhere in the northern United States or Canada, you are dealing with frost, snow, and hard freezes. Yet, the health industry has you convinced that your primary medicine should be a tropical rhizome that shrivels up and dies the moment the thermometer hits 49 degrees. Have you ever tried to grow turmeric in Zone 5? It's a joke. You have to buy the root in spring. You have to plant it in a pot because the ground is too cold. You have to babysit it under grow lights or drag it in and out of the house like a fragile pet. You water it, you pray over it, and after 9 months of sweating over this plant, you dump out the pot and get, what? A few tiny finger-sized nubs, maybe enough for 1 week of tea. It's a failure. It's not sustainable medicine. It's a hobby. Meanwhile, while you're fighting nature to keep that tropical plant alive, there is a root native to your own backyard that is literally sleeping under the snow right now. Golden seal, Hydrastis canadensis. This plant doesn't just tolerate the cold, it requires it. It laughs at Zone 3 winters. It survives temperatures of 40 below zero. While turmeric turns to mush, golden seal is underground, thickening its rhizomes, concentrating its alkaloids, getting stronger specifically because of the winter. It wakes up in the spring before the trees even leaf out, aggressive and ready. It's the medicine that belongs here, but they don't sell you plants that thrive on neglect. They sell you plants that need life support. So, why haven't you planted it? This brings us to the endangered myth. This was the masterstroke of the industry. They told you golden seal is endangered. And they weren't lying, it is endangered in the wild. But you have to ask yourself why. It's endangered because in the late 1800s, commercial traders stripped the Appalachian Mountains bare to put this root into patent medicines. They ravaged the wild populations. But here is the twist. Instead of saying, hey, this plant is disappearing, let's teach every homeowner in America how to grow a patch to save it, they said, it's endangered. It's rare. It's difficult. Don't touch it. Leave it to the professionals. They took a conservation crisis and turned it into a marketing strategy. They convinced you that golden seal is this fragile, mystical thing that only experts can handle. That is a lie. Endangered does not mean hard to grow. It just means over-harvested. By telling you it's rare, they justify charging you an arm and a leg for it. By telling you it's difficult, they keep you from planting the one thing that would actually save the species, a patch in every backyard. They didn't want you cultivating it. They wanted to keep the supply low and the price high. And that leads to the real reason, the economic threat. This is the part that makes me angry, and it should make you angry too. Golden seal is too potent, and it is too easy. A backyard patch of golden seal destroys the repeat customer model. Think about it. Turmeric, you need to take grams of it every day to feel an effect. You go through a bottle a month. That is a perfect product. Golden seal, it's potent. You take a pinch of the powder for an infection, a digestive issue, a flare-up. It works fast. And the plant, it spreads. You plant 1 rhizome today. In 3 years you have 5. In 5 years you have 20. In a decade you have a colony that produces pounds of root every autumn. You can dig it up, dry it, powder it, and you have enough medicine to treat your family and your neighbors for free, forever. You never walk into the supplement aisle again. You never swipe your credit card for their immune support blend again. That is a disaster for a billion-dollar industry. They need you dependent. A hardy, perennial, self-propagating medicine patch is the definition of independence. If you are realizing right now that your medicine cabinet is full of tropical imports because you were never taught about the medicine growing under your own oak trees, you need to subscribe. I am systematically digging up the knowledge they buried. If you scroll past without joining us, you are choosing to stay dependent on their supply chain. Don't do that. Click subscribe. To understand why you don't have golden seal growing in your backyard right now, we have to look at a timeline that doesn't make any sense unless you follow the money. We are talking about 10,000 years of success versus 100 years of regulation. Let me take you back to 1840, deep in the Appalachian Mountains. Picture a Cherokee herbalist walking through the forest shade. She isn't scavenging. She's visiting a patch of medicine that her grandmother planted 60 years prior. She knows exactly where it is. She knows which plants are ready and which ones need another year. She harvests a few roots, just enough for the winter, and she leaves the rest. She doesn't destroy the patch, she manages it. It was sustainable, intergenerational medicine. The patch wasn't a resource to be mined. It was a family member. It was permanent. Then, the mindset shifted. Around 1850, settlers and traders realized that this Indian dye was actually potent medicine, but they didn't see a relationship. They saw a product. They saw dollar signs. The commercial strip mine began. For 50 years, diggers went into the woods and pulled up everything. They didn't replant. They didn't cultivate. They just took. By 1900, they had nearly wiped golden seal off the map. This is crucial for you to understand. The scarcity of golden seal wasn't caused because the plant is weak. It was caused because humans are greedy. The near extinction event was caused by selling, not by using. And instead of teaching people how to farm it to save it, the industry just shrugged and raised the price. But the real nail in the coffin came in the 1930s. This was the shift to the fringe. The pharmaceutical industry was just finding its legs with the discovery of antibiotics like penicillin and sulfur drugs. These were miracles, yes, but they were also patentable. You could own them. You could own the manufacturing process. You cannot patent a root that grows in the dirt, so a narrative had to be built. The new, shiny, profitable drugs were science. The old, effective, reliable roots were labeled folk nonsense. Golden seal, which had been in the official US pharmacopoeia, the official list of recognized medicines, was slowly pushed out. Then came the regulatory wall of the FDA. The rules changed. To claim a plant cured anything, you needed studies. Expensive, multi-million-dollar studies. But since no one could patent golden seal, no company would pay for those studies. It's a catch. 2-2 designed to kill natural medicine. No patent means no profit. No profit means no studies. No studies means unproven. And just like that, 10,000 years of evidence was erased by a lack of funding. So, what is this forbidden plant actually? Let's strip away the mystery. Let's look at the botany of freedom, because if you can identify it, you can grow it. Golden seal is unassuming. It doesn't scream for attention like a rose. It sends up a single, hairy stem, about a foot high. At the top, it unfurls these beautiful, jagged, hand-shaped leaves, palmate leaves. In the spring, it has a tiny, blink-and-you-miss-it, white flower that turns into a cluster of red berries looking a bit like a raspberry. But the magic isn't above ground, it's below. The rhizome system is the engine. If you dig it up, the root is a brilliant, shocking yellow. It looks like it's glowing. That's the berberine, that's the gold. And unlike a carrot that grows down, this rhizome grows sideways. It creeps horizontally just under the surface of the soil, sending up new shoots as it travels. It wants to spread. Here is the secret requirement that makes golden seal the perfect crop for the lazy gardener. Shade. It needs at least 80% shade. Think about that. The exact spot in your yard where tomatoes die, where peppers refuse to grow, where grass struggles that dark, damp corner under the trees, is exactly where golden seal thrives. It turns the useless part of your property into a pharmacy. It doesn't want the sun, it wants the canopy. And finally, its superpower, the life cycle. This is where it beats turmeric hands down. Turmeric is tropical. It panics when the temperature drops. Golden seal, it has a dormancy cycle. In the fall, the leaves turn yellow and die back to the ground. The plant disappears. But it's not dead, it's sleeping. It's using the winter cold to reset its internal clock. It sleeps through the killing frost that destroys turmeric. It sleeps through the blizzard. And while it sleeps, that root is safe underground, protected by the snow. When spring comes, it doesn't just come back, it comes back double. That dormancy isn't a weakness. It's a survival strategy that matches our climate perfectly. You don't have to bring it inside, you just have to let it sleep. Now we are getting to the part that really scares the pharmaceutical industry. We've talked about the history, we've talked about the plant, but now we have to talk about the chemistry. Because if you think golden seal is just some old-timey folk remedy for a sore throat, you are missing the forest for the trees. This isn't just a root, it is a chemical weapon against disease. If you snap a fresh golden seal rhizome in half, it bleeds a neon yellow. It stains your fingers. That yellow color comes from an alkaloid called berberine. Now, you might have heard of berberine recently. It's becoming a buzzword in the biohacking community. But here is what they aren't telling you. Most of the berberine on the market is synthesized or extracted from cheaper, less potent plants. The golden seal sitting in the shade of the Appalachians is the original full-spectrum delivery system for this compound. So, what does berberine actually do? This is where it gets wild. It is not just an anti-inflammatory, it is a metabolic regulator. Think about that for a second. Most medicines do one thing. They block a receptor or kill a bug. Berberine goes into your cells and flips a master switch called AMPK. This is the same switch that gets flipped when you exercise or fast. It tells your body to stop storing fat and start burning energy. It tells your cells to clean house. It is foundational medicine. But let's look at the immediate threats. Infections. We live in an age of antibiotic resistance. You go to the doctor for a urinary tract infection or a skin issue, and the drugs don't work like they used to. The bacteria are getting smarter. Well, guess what? Golden seal has been winning that war for thousands of years. The studies are there. They were published in the early 2000s, buried in medical journals that you aren't supposed to read. These studies pitted berberine against heavy hitters like MRSA, E. coli, and Candida. The results were shocking. In many cases, the plant compounds inhibited the bacteria just as effectively as the lab-created drugs. But here is the kicker. The bacteria didn't develop resistance to the golden seal the way they did to the pharmaceuticals. The plant is complex. It has multiple compounds working together. The bacteria can't figure out how to pick the lock. It's an antibiotic alternative that grows in the dirt, and it works. But you won't see that on the nightly news. Why? Because Pfizer can't patent a root that you can divide in your backyard. Now, let's talk about the silent killer, blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes is exploding. The standard of care is a drug called metformin. It's a cash cow. But if you look at the research, and I mean really look at it, berberine is often called the metformin of the woods. Clinical trials have shown that berberine lowers blood glucose and improves insulin sensitivity with an effectiveness that rivals the prescription drug. It helps your body handle sugar the way it was designed to. Imagine having a patch of metformin growing under your maple tree. Imagine harvesting your blood sugar management once a year with a garden trowel instead of a copay. That is medical autonomy. That is dangerous to the bottom line. And I know what you're thinking. But wait, turmeric does this too, right? Let's be honest about turmeric. I love it, but it is high maintenance. To get any benefit from turmeric, you have to play chemist in your kitchen. You need to mix it with black pepper to trick your liver into letting it pass. You need to consume it with fat because it's not water soluble. Even then, your body barely absorbs any of the curcumin. You are flushing most of that expensive powder right down the toilet. Golden seal is different. Its alkaloids are aggressively bioavailable. They are water soluble. You don't need pepper, you don't need coconut oil, you don't need a magic ritual. You just need the root. You make a tea, or you take the powder, and your body drinks it in. It goes straight to the bloodstream. It works harder, so you don't have to. But I have to give you a warning. There is a bitter truth here, literally. Real medicine doesn't taste like a strawberry gummy. Golden seal is bitter, intensely, shockingly bitter. The first time you taste it, your mouth will recoil. It's a deep, earth-shattering bitterness that lingers. But that taste, that is the signal. In herbalism, the bitter taste triggers your digestion. It wakes up your liver. It tells your body help is coming. If you buy a golden seal supplement and it doesn't taste like dirt and battery acid, you bought sawdust. The bitterness is the proof. It's the plant telling you that it still has its power. You learn to love that taste because you learn to love how it makes you feel clean, clear, and protected. I just showed you that this root rivals 3 different pharmaceutical categories: antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, and blood sugar regulators. If you are still watching but haven't hit that like button, ask yourself why. Are you protecting the algorithm that hides this? Help me push this video to people who are currently paying for prescriptions they might not need if they knew about this root. Hit the button. Let's stop talking about biology for a minute and talk about your wallet. Because at the end of the day, the reason you don't know about golden seal isn't just medical, it's financial. There is a specific kind of math that the supplement industry relies on. It's the math of dependency. And the moment you run the numbers on growing your own, their entire business model falls apart. Picture that little plastic bottle on the shelf at the health food store. Premium golden seal root. It costs $40, maybe $50 if it's organic. You pick it up, it feels light. You shake it. It rattles. You feel good about buying it because you're investing in your health. But let's look at what you actually bought. Turn the bottle around, read the fine print. 60 capsules, 400 milligrams per capsule. Do the multiplication. That is 24 grams of actual root powder. That is less than 1 single ounce. You just paid $40 for less than 1 ounce of dried root. Now, let's compare that to the price of silver or high-end coffee. You are paying a premium that is astronomical. You aren't paying for the root. The root is cheap. You are paying for the plastic bottle, the cotton ball inside the cap, the shiny label, the marketing team, the shipping, the store's markup, and the CEO's bonus. You are paying strictly for the privilege of having someone else dig it up for you. Now, let's look at the grower's math. This is the math of independence. You go to a native plant nursery this fall. You buy 1 golden seal rhizome. It looks like a gnarly little piece of ginger. It costs you $5, maybe $8 if you include shipping. That is your total investment, $5. You put it in the ground, you walk away, you ignore it. Fast forward. We are playing the long game here. In 5 years, that one $5 rhizome hasn't just sat there. It has colonized. It has sent out runners. It has divided. That single plant is now a patch of 20 mature plants. If you harvest just half of that patch, leaving enough to regrow, you are pulling up about 8 ounces of dried, medicinal-grade root. Let's go back to the store price. 8 ounces times $40 an ounce? That is $320 of medicine. You turned $5 into $320, and you did it with 0 labor. No weeding, no watering after the first year, no fertilizer. The forest floor did the work. The snow did the work. Show me a stock market portfolio that gives you that kind of return with 0 risk. You can't. But the ROI, the return on investment, isn't just high, it's actually infinite. And this is the concept that's terrifyingly simple. The plant divides. When you buy a bottle of pills, what happens when you take the last one? The bottle is empty. The value is gone. You have to go back to the store and open your wallet again. It's a subscription model. You are renting your health. When you grow golden seal, you never buy it again. You harvest the root, you break off a piece of the rhizome with a bud on it, and you put it back in the hole. It grows back. You become the supplier. You have exited the consumer cycle entirely. You can give roots to your kids. You can trade dried powder with your neighbors for eggs or honey. You have printed your own money in the form of medicine. Now, I know exactly what the little voice in your head is saying. I hear it in the comments all the time. But it takes 4 years. I don't have 4 years to wait for medicine. This is the impossible barrier. This is the psychological wall they built to keep you buying. They convinced you that because it's slow, it's not worth doing. Here is the truth about time. 4 years is going to pass anyway. Think about where you were 4 years ago. It feels like yesterday, doesn't it? If you had planted a single golden seal root back then, today you would be harvesting $300 worth of medicine. But you didn't. So today, you are just 4 years older and you're still buying pills. Time is going to move forward whether you plant or not. You can arrive at the year 2030 with nothing but a recycling bin full of empty plastic bottles, or you can arrive there with a perpetual pharmacy growing under your trees. The slowness of the plant isn't a bug, it's a feature. It teaches you patience. It teaches you investment. The industry wants you impatient. They want you to want a quick fix, so you buy the pill today. They bank on your lack of foresight. Don't let them win that bet. Plant the root. Let the seasons turn. Let the snow fall. And one day, you will walk out to your backyard, dig up a fortune, and realize that the most profitable thing you ever did was wait. All right, let's get your hands dirty. We are done with the theory. This is the action plan. If you have a shovel and some shade, you are qualified to do this. But you have to do it right, or you're just wasting time. Step 1 is sourcing. This is the only strict rule I have. Do not buy wild harvested roots. If you see a listing on eBay or Etsy that says fresh from the forest, click away. Buying poached roots to start a conservation patch is like poaching elephants to start a zoo. It defeats the purpose. You want nursery propagated stock. You want rhizomes that were born in a pot, ready to move into your soil. Look for specialty native plant nurseries. They are out there, they are passionate, and they need your business more than the poachers do. Step 2 is site selection. Walk out to your yard. Look for the spot where your grass refuses to grow. Look for the dark, damp corner on the north side of your house where the moss takes over. Look under your hardwoods, your oaks, your maples, your poplars. Golden seal hates the sun. If you put it in a vegetable garden, it will fry. It wants the canopy. It wants the dappled light that filters through the leaves. You are looking for 70 to 80% shade. You are looking for the spot you usually ignore. That is prime real estate. Step 3 is soil prep. And here is the good news. Laziness is a virtue. Golden seal needs what we call leaf mold. It needs the rotting, decaying matter of the forest floor. Do not rake the area clean. Do not till it into a fine powder. If you have a pile of old leaves, mix them in. If you have compost, throw it down. You want the soil to feel spongy. You want it to hold moisture but drain well. Think of the forest floor. It's never bare dirt. It's always covered. Mimic that. Plant the rhizomes just 2 inches deep. Shallow. Cover them with leaves. Done. Now comes the hardest part. The wait. There is an old saying among perennial growers that you need to tattoo on your brain. The first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, the third year it leaps. In year 1, you will think you failed. You might see 1 leaf, maybe. The plant is putting 100% of its energy into the root system. It is sleeping. Do not dig it up to check on it. In year 2, it creeps. You'll see a second stem, maybe a runner. It's testing the waters. In year 3, it leaps. Suddenly that 1 plant is 3. The leaves are huge. The berries appear. The patch establishes dominance. You have to trust the dormancy. You have to trust the biology. Finally, the harvesting protocol. This is where you become a steward, not a strip miner. When you harvest in year 4 or 5, you don't dig up the whole patch. You are surgical. You scrape back the soil and find the rhizome mass. You will see a central knot, the grandmother part, and you will see younger rhizomes spreading out like fingers. Snap off the outer fingers. Leave the grandmother. Leave the buds that are pointing up for next year. Cover it back up. You just took $50 worth of medicine, and the plant didn't die. In fact, cutting it often stimulates it to branch out more. The patch survives the harvest. It gets denser. You can do this every single autumn for the rest of your life. So, where does this leave us? It leaves us at the start of a rebellion, but it's a quiet one. It's a rebellion that happens in the dirt. We are talking about a fundamental shift in how you view yourself. Right now, you are a consumer of medicine. You get sick, you go to the store, you buy a solution. You are dependent. When you plant golden seal, you become a producer. You are opting out of the system that profits from your illness. You are taking back the means of production for your own health. Think about the community resilience. Imagine if every house on your block had a patch. If the supply chains break, if the trucks stop running, if the pharmacy shelves go empty, you aren't panicked. You have a root cellar full of the most potent antibiotic nature ever designed. You can help your neighbor with their infection. They can trade you for firewood or food. That isn't just gardening. That is security. That is how communities survived for thousands of years before the FDA existed. Let's go back to where we started. Turmeric versus golden seal. Turmeric is a pet. You have to feed it, water it, keep it warm, sing it lullabies, and protect it from the cold. It takes from you. Golden seal is a partner. It lives outside. It fights the frost. It fights the pests. It grows in the dark. It guards your back. We just spent 30 minutes dismantling a 50-year lie. You now have the knowledge to grow medicine that costs $40 an ounce, for free, in the shade. The only reason to not subscribe now is if you prefer being dependent on a system that profits from your sickness. I don't think that's you. Subscribe, comment, and tell me if you're planting golden seal this year or if you think I'm exaggerating its effectiveness. Real question, because I need to know who's ready for medical plant independence.